Napoleonic.
You will not look at it. It'll be the upward shot.
Yeah.
You're just like, you could put your hand, into your sleeve like this.
Yeah. Just,
Well, the thing that I wanted to ask about was, because the whole issue about what you've done, and if we can describe it in terms of social entrepreneurship, Cameron, is you can throw a party, but the wrong people can show up. I can imagine that you, based on what you started, you could have ended up with your email box or your meeting rooms filled with architects in midlife crisis.
Yeah.
And that doesn't get you a movement, because that doesn't get people on planes going to do something. So how did you stop the movement, in effect, getting top-heavy, old-heavy, and somehow get the kids involved? Did you have a particular strategy to do that?
well, it was by using the media that the youth use.
Right.
It's like I think I was the only person presenting digitally today in a way. But we were only created because we were on the web. And so back in 1999, 2000, younger people were on the web, they connected. I also became a bit of a rebel in the industry.
Yeah.
People would have interviews and say, do you want to be Frank Gehry? I said, no way, right? And people say, wait, who is this guy? Why does he not want to be Frank Gehry? And so, I began to buck the trend. And so people who are a little more alternative began getting focused. But then I realized that it's not a one-way street. I have to communicate with them.
Yeah.
So doing web videos, doing Twitter, doing Facebook, doing then Friendster and MySpace, it was a way that we communicated. I have 4,000 people on Facebook and 12,000 people on Twitter.
Yeah.
When I communicate with them, I can ask questions, and people are like, well, this is the sort of job I want. Yeah. So for every midlife crisis person we have come in our office, we have 10 people that come in that are 22 years old, just graduated, they focus their life on social issues, and they can't find a job.
Yeah, there's that fantastic gap where you can actually get them for a year or two, and that's all you need them for.
Yeah,
actually.
Yeah, and there's endless. I think of it like an army, like an army for good.
Yeah.
That we have these kind of young recruits that come in, they learn stuff, they're almost low cost designers, and then you have more established, and they mentor them, and they give them hope. They say, look, I'm 40 years old, I did this work my whole life, you can do it too. So I think it's also important to have role models that fit the future of these architects.
Okay. Now, next question is really just about implementation, because it's all very well to have an idea.
Yeah.
Just make sure this is working. Yeah. It's all very well having a great idea, but one of my favourite sayings is civilization is all the things you don't have to think about. It just happens. Things like nudge and whatever.
Yeah.
It's actually the default settings which makes it powerful.
Yeah.
So, if you were to describe the civilization of what you do, what is the thing that kind of happens anyway, that has to keep on ticking whatever happens? It's happening right now. You're in Vienna, but it keeps on going. What is that?
It's the direct reality of my folks on the ground. The fact that they're living in a village in Uganda, or they're living in Port-au-Prince in Haiti. They see it every day, and there's an emotional attachment to the community.
Yeah.
There's a drive to get it built. When I was a kid, my mother taught me there's nothing worse than being all mouth and no trousers, which I think meant something else.
Yes.
But I took it to mean there's nothing worse talking about solutions. It's better to do it.
Yeah.
And the worst thing in design is we have so many people that talk about great ideas, and they act as if like they're the great hope, but they don't do anything.
Yeah.
And I think it's actually detrimental to the industry when you don't prove that it works. And, we build a house for $2,000. We build a health clinic for $10,000. It costs $1 million to put on an exhibit.
Yeah.
So, we once got asked to do a model for a museum, and they gave us money to build the model.
Yeah.
We sent the money to Tanzania, and the model is 1-to-1 scale. It's called The Building.
Very nice.
And then we send them photographs. We said it's not Photoshop. It's really people getting healthcare.
Hey, we'll build a model. We just put it there.
Yeah.
Very nice. Fantastic. So, but what I'm hearing from what you said this morning is that also your volunteers have a green button rather than a red. Sorry, they have a red button, not a green button. In other words, the default setting is just get on with it.
Yeah.
They have permission to say, I think we need to stop. Is that okay? But they don't have a green button, which is they have to call you, or they have to go up to a whole layer of management to say, for me to press the green button a second time, I need permission, so on and so forth. There's a stop button, not a start one.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's how I was able to do this. No one Like, no one, I didn't have to get approval of anyone, so how can I run a business where everyone has to get approval from me? It's dictatorial. It's more important for me to say, look, this organization survived by the ability to do things.
Yeah.
And if you screw up, it's okay. We will find a way to make it better. And if you really screw up, then the cavalry will come. And the question is, what allows people to understand there's a stop button is to know there's cavalry.
Yes.
That people will come to their aid if they're really in trouble.
Turn this off, sorry?
Yeah.
Interrupting, sorry.
Fine. We know the cavalry will come. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's great.